Lord forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack making backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
Tim Norman is the son of Sweetie Pie's owner, Miss Robbie. He is accused of hiring a hitman to kill his nephew, Andre Montgomery. Initially, police thought it was directly linked to cashing in on a $450,000 life insurance policy. But we've now learned it might also be linked to a burglary at the home of Norman's mother, Miss Robbie. Miss Robbie starred in the reality TV show named after the restaurant, which ran for 5 years on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Her house was burglarized in 2015, and Tim Norman blamed his nephew for the crime. Norman even started telling people his nephew would face retaliation. At one point, he texted his insurance agent, "He might not make it 6 months, bro. Not kidding." Just days before the murder, police interviewed Andre Montgomery about the burglary. They cleared him as a suspect, and Montgomery claimed it was actually his uncle who orchestrated it. Montgomery told police Norman had motive and was upset that Miss Robbie was removing him from some business ventures. He told police, quote, "Norman has the influence to set up the burglary and have someone else break in at his direction." 4 days after that police interview, Montgomery was dead.
It's hot down here. You know, we've been on this barbecue pit all day. It's hot, but I'm very excited to be here, man. Downtown Jackson, I love it.
Riding the success of a popular Oprah Network reality show, Sweetie Pie's moved to Jackson in 2018 with James Timothy Norman as the manager. In January of 2020, it reopened at this location on East South Street. According to a federal indictment, Norman's legal trouble began years earlier. The U.S. Attorney's Office in St. Louis, Missouri says in 2016, Norman conspired with a Memphis woman, Terica Ellis, to kill his nephew. Norman had taken out a $450,000 insurance policy on Andre Montgomery, and authorities say Norman was the sole beneficiary. Montgomery was shot and killed in St. Louis in March of 2016. The St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department Homicide Section and Federal Bureau of Investigation are investigating the charges.
St. Louis reality TV star found guilty in a murder-for-hire plot. Tim Norman was known for appearing on the reality series Welcome to Sweetie Pies. Well, today, a jury said Norman planned his nephew's murder and tried to cash in on his life insurance. News 4's Susan L. Corey joins us live after following the very latest in this case.
Yeah, and Page, prosecutors called it a crime that was motivated by greed, and that was enough for a federal jury. They spent almost 17 hours deliberating before they came out earlier this afternoon and said Tim Norman is guilty on all charges. Now, prosecutors said Norman took out a life insurance policy on his 21-year-old nephew, Andre Montgomery. That policy was worth $450,000. During the trial, an exotic dancer took the stand and testified that Norman paid her to follow his nephew. The accused shooter also testified that Norman paid him to pull the trigger. Both of them pled guilty to their parts in the crime. Meanwhile, Norman's lawyer called all of that a made-up theory.
He then used a paramour to locate Mr. Montgomery and a co-defendant to fatally shoot and kill him. And within days of his nephew's murder, Mr. Norman started the process of getting the insurance company to pay the claim.
Yeah, we back. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb. We on our way to Missouri with it. The show me state. Y'all meet us in St. Louis. This shit is about to get ugly. Now, today we are going to be telling the story of how a family drama can spiral out of control and ends up with the button getting pressed on somebody that you should love most. And the star of this episode is going to be a guy by the name of Tim Norman. Now, I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with Tim Norman from the reality series Welcome to Sweetie Pies. It debuted on the Oprah Winfrey Network back in 2011, and it highlighted pretty much a mom and pop restaurant that's, I want to say, essentially famous in the city of St. Louis. All my guys from St. Louis, y'all get in the comment box. Y'all let us know if you ever been there. Let us know what the food like. Let us know the situation, the neighborhood that it's in. Now, Tim Norman is essentially going to be the son of the star of the show, Robbie Montgomery, who is the owner and the face of the restaurant. And he actually started it himself. And he was, like you seen earlier, president of the restaurant that had opened in Jackson. So he was definitely a somebody affiliated with that brand. Now, back in 2015, or based on my research, if you're familiar with the show, this would be season 3, episode 317. The star of the show that we spoke of, Miss Robbie, would return from a trip to California where she would help establish a restaurant there, and she would find her house to be burglarized. Now, on the show, they would dramatize it up, and they would bring up St. Louis and the neighborhood, and they would almost just make it seem like she was a target of her own success. But somewhere deeper under that, it was a family drama brewing. And according to authorities, when they would interview Andre Montgomery about the burglaries at his grandmother's house, he would proceed to implicate his uncle, Tim Norman, in said burglary, saying that he had the means to commit the crime, and he could even have somebody else commit the crime without him even being there. Now, not sure if he was made aware that Tim Norman was also blaming the burglary on him, and the government would make light of that at his trial, showing where he texted, saying that he didn't think his nephew had 6 months to live, essentially 6 months before he was murdered. Now, a lot more cases that I'm covering, I notice, are federal cases, and I'm not quite sure what made this one a federal case, but I'm sure that helped solving it because the murder occurred in 2016. He was arrested for it back in 2020 and would find himself in a situation in 2022 where all 3 of his co-defendants, a stripper, his insurance agent, and the shooter that he paid, would all plead guilty before he would even go to trial, essentially making the government's case for them. Now, the shooter, a guy by the name of Travell Anthony Hill, would admit prior to Andre Montgomery's death, he would talk about a meeting that he had with a mutual acquaintance of his and Tim Norman's, who told him that Tim Norman wanted Montgomery killed. And on the day of Montgomery's death, Hill and Norman would meet in St. Louis, and Norman would tell Hill that a woman would be calling him with Montgomery's location. Now, that stripper was a female by the name of Terica Ellis from Memphis, and she would go on to admit to finding Andre Montgomery twice for Tim Norman before the murder and providing Andre Montgomery's whereabouts, first to Tim Norman, then to Travell Hill, using a prepaid phone that she and Norman had purchased together. Now, she would also admit to knowing that Norman was upset and frustrated by his inability to locate Andre Montgomery. Now, Terica Ellis would go on to place that call to Travell Hill on March 14th at 2016 at around 8 p.m., leading to Andre Montgomery being killed at 3964 Natural Bridge Avenue in St. Louis. And this is just one of those real wow scenarios because when doing my research, I seen a clip from the show, and I want to say it was from season 4, episode 3 or something like that. And Tim Norman actually took his mother, Miss Robbie, to the location of Andre Montgomery's death. And they spoke about how many relatives they lost just on that strip. And looking at it after the fact, after seeing all of the evidence that the government built up against him, he had a poker face talking to his mom about killing his nephew. And that shit is just wild to me. But y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, POP_A_LOT. We're going to be back with some more Real Trill Spill shit. Y'all get in the comment box below. Y'all run that bitch up. Y'all know the situation. Hit the red subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real trill spill shit is dropping. And I'm going to be back ASAP. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb.